I believe that therapy can be a powerful tool, especially within a specific part of our lives, within the beginning parts of our healing journey when we are first discovering what exactly is going on under the hood of this car that we call ourselves, right? What limiting belief systems do we have? What sort of programming is there? What are the traumas, the inherent traumas that are driving and fueling our actions throughout life? Now, I believe that again, therapy is absolutely powerful and profound for bringing a lot of these things to life. And when I say therapy, I mean conventional, like modern day therapy, right? Like talk therapy, couch therapy, etc., whatever you want to call it. However, I have also noticed that there are specific types of therapists. And again, this is not an attack on anybody in the space. I have nothing but respect for the space or individuals who go into this work with the right heart and the right intentions. But yes, I have noticed that there are certain individuals or certain types of therapists who do more damage than they do good. And so I thought it would only make sense for me to highlight those for anybody out there who is in their healing journey process. And this is not coming from a place of, don't go to them, go to me. You need coaching more than you need therapy. Like for where you are, you might be exactly where you need to be. You might need to be in that therapist office, once or two times a week, as opposed to coaching or, some other form of, like, I guess, higher grade consultation or whatever you may call it, right? Taking you from that place into action items and like how do we actually move forward and evolve ourselves as opposed to staying in that cycle of what happened to me. How do we take what happened to me and empower ourselves? I'm not saying, again, one is more important than the other. All I am doing is highlighting the types of individuals or the types of therapists who I see as doing more damage than good in most people's lives. So that being said, number one is those who see therapy or mental health as a job or simply an occupation. So when I got into this space, and by the way, I'm not a therapist or a clinical psychologist, I am a coach, right? But when I got into the space of, personal development and internal healing and, these different modules that we use for overcoming our past traumas and our past limiting beliefs and stepping into the most empowered version of ourselves, one thing that I noticed was there were a multitude of individuals who were therapists, life coaches, etc., who did it because they saw it as something to do, as a job, right? Like there's a teacher who is in teaching because they love to educate, they love kids, they love to see the child's minds develop. And then there's another teacher who's in it because it's a steady paycheck, they have the summers off, they get the benefits package, and that's pretty much it. That's the reason why they have chosen to be a teacher. This spans across every single dynamic, every single space, industry, and vertical. You will find individuals who do the thing because it's simply something to do that seems like a guaranteed way to get a salary at the end of the day. Maybe they've given up on the thing they actually wanted to do, so they jump into a space that seems that it's going to at least satisfy to keep a roof over their heads, etc. So this type of individual, the reason why I believe they are dangerous when it comes to therapy is because they're not truly seeing the person, right? They're not there for the person. They're not there to see transformation happen. That's not what drives them. That's not what fuels them, right? Like for myself, I never thought I would ever be in this space, but I cared so much about people being changed and transformed and becoming the best versions of themselves that I couldn't help but step into the space. And I know a multitude of other people who they are so intensely driven by seeing people become the best version of themselves. And to be honest, they are like a hybrid between the therapist and the coach, right? The individual who is there listening and uncovering things, but is also saying, here are tools for you to get from here to the next level and then the next level continuously. So the person who sees it as a job is one who, again, is kind of just seeing you as a part of the job, as a part of the requirement of this thing that I signed up for. It's, again, like the teacher who sees the students as almost a hassle, like it's something I have to put up with because I'm in this job that's going to give me the benefits, that's going to give me the summer off, that's going to give me this, that, and the third, right? And usually that person will burn out very quickly. That's going to be the type of person who simply just does not want to stay in the space, or you feel that there's something off about the way that they approach you in relationship. You can just feel it if you use your true discernment. Number two is goes by the book, or the one who simply goes by the book. Now, the reason why this one is dangerous is pretty similar to the first one. However, it differs in this way. They not only don't really see you, but they are actually so fixated on getting, let's say, things right, right? Or using the right terminology as opposed to digging into who you are, seeing the complexities of your situation, like viewing you as an individual who has multiple different aspects and facets of yourself that are unintegrated or integrated, that are creating the life experiences that you're having. Instead, they are literally going through, like, let's say, a diagnostic type of kit, right? They're going through a process of A, B, C, D. Did I check off these things on the list? Like, there's no real room or wiggle room. There's no real space to explore the fullness of who you are. That's what I'm looking to say. There's no space to explore who you actually are. And so, again, you will feel it in most cases where it's like, man, this person is just like kind of asking me these like questions that basically I was asked in the screening. I was asked by my other therapist, or they seem just like these robotic type of questions looking for very specific answers as opposed to getting to know me as a person. Who am I? What is it that I've gone through? What am I going through? And then we can get down to, okay, let's apply this specific methodology or this specific process. Because if somebody just walks in and they tell you that I'm struggling with this, if you were to go by the book, you're automatically going to go into your Rolodex instead of using your intuition or actually getting to feel that person out and see what they really need. You don't read between the lines of what they're actually saying and get to what they're actually feeling and experiencing, which I believe is the most powerful aspect of therapy, right? That is what is therapeutic, is when somebody is truly understanding your needs almost better than you are. They're able to explain things about you even better than you are, as opposed to just putting like a one shoe or one size fits all onto every single case study. And so again, the reason why it's dangerous, I believe, is because it doesn't really get to the root of what a person needs, right? I believe Teal Swan, who is a spiritual teacher, content creator on YouTube, phenomenal content. I don't believe everything or agree with everything, but there's, great piece of content she puts out. And she told the story of basically how there was this kid, phenomenal high school baseball player, and he ends up going to like a second ranked school instead of the Division 1. So he passes up on Division 1 scholarship, goes to the scholarship of like the D2, D3 school. He's the best player on that team, but he doesn't really put out an effort. And his coach says, I think you're afraid of success. And so they try to fix this problem of being fearful of success, when in reality, he was actually raised in an environment where his sister was, I believe she had autism or something of that nature. And so she was always catered to. And so in the household, he was always told that he needed to cater to her needs. And if they were playing a game, he needed to lose all the time. And he was basically made to feel bad for any time he was showing his successes or showing his abilities or capabilities. And so that brought about a complex where he felt guilty for literally excelling. So he started to become mediocre in the fear that he would outshine his sister or outshine those who could not do the same thing as he was doing. This was a subconscious belief, of course. So that's an example of if you went into a therapy office and you told them your story, I'm struggling, I don't know why, like I'm not, aspiring towards what I really know I'm capable of. If they just tell you, oh, that's this certain fear, right? Let's say fear of success was something that is subscribed or prescribed. Then they would just tell you, oh, that's a fear of success. And then you would go out trying to solve the wrong problem as opposed to truly getting to the root of things. So that being said, let's get into number 3, which is the one who needs the return customer. I left this for last because this is the most dangerous one, right? This is like the cautionary tale. This individual, and again, you find them in every industry. It's not just therapy, it's every industry. And it's the person who does what they do out of a sense of fear, and the fear is not having the book of business, right? So in most cases, you might find it with people who are service providers, provide products, people who have a business of their own. They need a revolving door of customers. They need somebody coming back time and time again. So think about it. If you are, charging $100 a session, $200 a session, whatever it is, and a person only comes once and their problem is solved in that session, if you are fearful of not having enough customers and not having enough money or whatever it is, you're going to do your best to make sure that they come to you more than once, right? As a matter of fact, you would hope that they come to you maybe once a month or once a week. You would hope that they continuously come, and so you would find ways for them to continue to stay on that hook. Now, again, I'm not saying that every person is doing this who has people for years. Sometimes people just want to be with you as a client for year after year after year. Even when I was in marketing, this happened to me. I had people just stay with me because they want to stay with me. They had no business for me, but they created opportunities because they just wanted to work with me, or just have my presence there for whatever reason. And you'll find that in some cases, but in many of cases, you will find individuals who are afraid to not have this book of business, and so they will create a situation where you are buying into their belief that you need them, and you need them for a very long time, which is when you get in these situations of somebody who is in therapy for 5 years, 8 years, 10 years, some people 20 years of going to the same therapist or going to a therapist and still being in the very same place. And I think that's the real danger. Like, if you're genuinely gaining something from it and you are always in a state of progression and uncovering and discovering and taking those action steps and becoming all that you can truly be in this life, then it is powerful. It is absolutely powerful. But if you are in a place where that's not the case, where you're really just regurgitating the very same things and you're still in the very same kind of pattern cycle, then I got news for you. That person right there cares more about the paycheck than they do about your progress. And I'm not saying it's all malicious and evil. Again, it comes from a place of fear. It's absolute fear. They fear that if you don't come back, how am I going to get a new client? I'm gonna always have to get new clients. I'm always going to have to go there and do things, etc. They don't truly believe that they are enough to continue to, attract multitudes of people into their practice that are going to desire to be with them, as opposed to feeling they have to be with them. And that's the huge difference. Again, there are people who I now have who simply, come to me time and time again because they know that every time that we touch base, there's going to be at least 0.1% change. If not 1% change, something is going to shift every single time because I'm here to deliver value. And if I realize that, this person doesn't need me, I'm always going to tell. Actually, I always do tell, even in this content. Like, at the end of the day, it's not me that you need. It's the self-awareness and then the acting upon that self-awareness. That's really the most powerful thing. It's just that sometimes we do desire the guidance, and it is extremely powerful and helpful to have that guidance. I've had that guidance throughout my life in different forms and fashions, but when it's all said and done, it's really all on me. And so I'm going to rehash this list one more time just so you remember. And you can do what you want with this. Like, this isn't, stop going to your therapist or, fire your therapist, etc. It's awareness, it's information that you can do with as you please. So number 1 is seeing their job as simply a job. Number 2 is go strictly by the book, no space of deviation. And number 3 is needs the return clients. And so you're just a returning client. So these aren't to be jaded off of. It's not to, be angry and malicious. It's just to simply recognize. It's like, what am I looking for? What are my outcomes? Like, am I looking just to vent? If I'm looking just to vent and have somebody to vent to, and I want to pay for somebody to vent to, that's perfectly fine. I think that's fair. That's a fair trade. That's a service that's being provided, right? I just want to talk about things and not really move anywhere in my life, not really have any change. But I believe that as humans, at some point in our experience, we want an actual transformation. We want to transcend where we are. We no longer just want to complain and spew out, what's happened to us, but we want to create a new story. And so if you are that type of person, make sure I'm kidding. Honestly, yes, I do offer one-on-one consultation right now, but this is only for people who are genuinely committed to their process, who are committed from going from, step A to step B, not taking circles around step A for the rest of their lives. So if you're that type of individual, then make sure to book a time with me. You can go down into the description box where you can click on my Calendly link that will lead you to my personal calendar. Book a time, book a day that works for you and I, and let's crack the code. Let's get down to it, and let's make true progress within your life. Let's not just talk about it, let's be about it. I love you. I appreciate you. Peace.